this is an online application, same one that I was creating on premises and that I deployed. And as you can see, this one gets highlighted because I selected the date as Wednesday, I believe, and the worker role kicked in and highlighted this entry. So just by publishing from within Visual Studio, as I did here, publish, you'll get yourself a package. Then you will go to the online portal, and from the online portal, you will first create the hosted service, which I call Dev Lifestyle Online. And remember that you can select the group, the affinity group where you want your hosted service to be actually hosted, on which data center. Once you do that, you create a new deployment. I did that, and as you can see, because I have a worker role and I have a web role, both are created inside my deployment and both are configured, and I get, as a result, my application up and running on the cloud. Okay, so basically, so I have a question here which says, check second setting key config. I don't know why you want me to check it, but basically you have two keys, so just in case you lost one, you have another one. So that's why it's called, let me go back here. So that's why it's called storage account. So that's why it's called primary and secondary, because I have two keys. I'm not sure if I understood your question. If it's not answered, you can follow up on this question, please. Okay. Now, next, I will start with the SQL Azure. So now I have my application connected to the storage, right? Connected to a table storage. But what if you want to utilize relational database? So one of the questions that I was expecting is when to use table storage and when to use relational database. And the answer is simple. If you are looking for storage to you know that you want to scale it quickly, and that you want very fast access to this storage, you will go with the table storage. If you want to go with the relational database and get all the relational features, all the data integrity features, you'll go with the relational database, but relational databases don't scale as good as table storage. Okay, so, but what if your application actually wants to use SQL Server, for example? So you need your relational database, you need to use SQL Server. That's why you have SQL Azure. And for SQL Azure, this is SQL Server, and this is a database actually connected to the cloud. Okay, so taking you back to the online portal, to the database node. It's not showing here actually for some reason. I had a problem since the first time I created my account. I can't see the SQL subscription here, but as you can see, from inside SQL Server 2008 R2, I'm connected to the cloud. So see here this connection. This is the name of my database, .database.windows.net. So this is my online database. Okay. And just like that, I'm connected to a database on the cloud. For example, I can create a new database. And let's call it temp Azure database, and let's execute. And once done, you will have yourself this temp Azure database created on the cloud. So you will get most, but not most of the features that you get in a traditional SQL Server database. You will get them on SQL Azure. Now, how do you make your application connect to SQL Azure? Well, simply just give it a connection string. It's actually as simple as that. So what I want to do is that in my application, and let me quit this application now and let me take you to the pre-built application. It's the same, but this one has the worker role working. So, and let's go to the web role. What I have done is that it's the oops, I closed the wrong application. Let me open the correct one, which is the pre-built project, and it's called Live Lifestyle June Online. Well, I have here a note from our friend Mustafa here saying that when I pasted the key and the worker role, it looked different, so that's why it didn't work. I doubt, because I didn't copy the second key actually. I copied only the first key, but it could be the case. So thanks for noting this anyway. However, anyway, I will continue now. But thanks for the note. It could be the case. So this is my main application, and going back to the web role, going back to the web.config, I'm starting to get really tired now. Okay, so this is the standard connection string that is generated by default for my application. This is the connection string for the application services, meaning the connection string that I can use to set up forms authentication for my application. Now, usually this connection string points to your local database, right? What I am doing now is that I'm connecting to the online database. So this is my online database. Okay, and I have the username and password. I'm not showing you this now online, but I have the username, password, and I'm connected to this database. This is called Saudi database, and as you can see, I have the forms authentication tables configured. Now, from where you can get these, you know that there are scripts that you can run on premises, I mean locally on your SQL Server database to set up the forms authentication tables. Similarly, you have scripts. Note that these are not the same scripts. So go online and search for SQL Azure forms authentication scripts. You will, sorry, not forms authentication, membership provider, and you will get these tables for you, the membership tables. Okay, ASP.NET membership. And actually, let me show you these scripts. Nothing special about them, but I have them here downloaded, and I will post these online also. So these are the scripts that you have to run on your SQL Azure database, and once you do, you will have these tables configured for ASP.NET membership. Now, simply in my application, in the web.config, I instruct my application to connect to the online database for forms authentication. Going back to the, now I will show you, I'm not showing anymore my offline application. I will show you the online application now. So I will log in, and let me register. Let me create a user. Let me call it temp user, and today's date is so it's 9 whatever, it's 9 June. Let me call it this way, and let me say that it has this email, and let me give it some complex password, and say create user. Now, as you can see, this user is created, and it's okay. I can see that one of our friends here has already uploaded the picture. Well, that's good. Now, let me show you the user which is already created. So let me select all the users. And as you can see, this is the online database. This is the user I just created online. Okay. So just like that, I connected my application to SQL Azure. Okay. Let's move to the final part of the session. Let me just check the questions. Okay. So let us move to the final part of the session here, which is the Windows Azure App Fabric, the service bus. So the best way to explain this is showing you this image. So what is the service bus? Okay, until this point, you have seen how you can basically do everything that you used to do in offline applications and traditional applications, how you can do using Windows Azure. So you get the compute for the web applications, for the applications that are like Windows services, the worker roles, I mean, the storage. You even see how you can access a relational database stored on SQL Azure, all this stuff. Now the final piece of the puzzle is the middleware, because when you're building your applications, your on-premise applications, you also have middleware that allows you to connect your applications, right? Well, you have the same capability on the cloud. So what you have is, it's called Windows Server App Fabric, the service bus. So what does this service bus means? To make it extremely simple, let's say you have a scenario where you have a service and you want the service to be deployed on your premise. Okay, you don't want to move the service to the cloud. You want the service to be deployed on your premise, but you want clients to be able to consume this service. Now, the traditional problems that you usually face is here. Let's say this is your service and this is the client. Traditionally, what you have to do is that you have to configure a connection between the client and the service. So in your environment, you have a firewall. The client's environment, there is firewall, there are NATs, there are different network protocols. Maybe you are using one protocol, the client is using another. So what you have to do is that you have to go and figure out how to configure connectivity between your service and the client. Well, using the service bus, using the Azure App Fabric, you will keep your service running here on your premise, but you will expose an endpoint listening on the internet, listening on the cloud.